Hello and welcome to today's class. Today's class will be on aging and its concept. Now, what is aging? I'm sure you must have heard about the term earlier also. Now, aging is a continuous process. It's a continuous ongoing biological process which no human being can escape. It begins at birth and ends with death. So in a simple word, you can also say aging means growing old. Now, as society ages, when there is an increase in its elderly population, along with decrease in the rest of the population. Rest of the population here would mean the young population as well as the adult population below, of course, 60 years of age or 65 years of age. The term is different in different countries. In some countries, aged population is considered those people who are 65 years and above, and in some countries, 60 years and above are considered as aged population. But that is technically. In general, it means people who are elderly, people who are old. Now, so the increasing numbers of elderly people in the total population leads to the demographic phenomena called population aging. It is also referred to by the name demographic aging. So question might come in examination if they ask you, define demographic aging, it means the same as population aging. Now, all the countries of the world, in fact, all the societies, all the individuals does experience aging. So everybody at the individual level, at the micro level, and all the countries at the macro level experiences aging. Now, but the degree varies. The degree varies from place to place, depending upon in which phase of demographic transition a particular region, a particular country is going through. Now, most developed countries have aged population continuously over the last century compared to the developing countries, including India. Now, the measure of aging being is an increase in the percentage of those over 60 or 65 years of age, and a decrease in those under 15 years of age. So you can measure aging by looking at the population of 60 years and above, and also looking at the decreasing or the shrinking of the population of the children, that is 15 years of age. Now there are three components which are responsible for the process of aging, and these components are the demographic changes or the demographic processes like declining fertility, reduction in mortality, and the increasing survival at older ages, or you can, in other words, increasing life expectancy. Now, what does declining fertility do? Declining fertility will bring down the number of children, the population of the number of children. So that's how declining fertility plays a role in the onset of aging. But declining in fertility in itself would not lead to the process of aging. It will also be supplemented by reduction in mortality. Reduction in mortality would mean people would live longer. And the third one, life expectancy. An increase in life expectancy means people will live longer, not just at the younger age, but also people would live longer at the older age. They will survive longer. Now, all these three demographic components contribute to the population aging and are reflected in a shift in the age structure from young to the old. Now, this demographic transition process of declining fertility and mortality give rise to increasing births in older cohorts compared to younger cohorts. You can see here in the comparative population pyramid of India and Japan. Japan is a developed country, so they are in the more advanced phase of the demographic transition. So look at the look at the cohorts, look at the older cohorts. Cohorts means those those uh, those uh, those pyramids, or those rectangles of the older age groups. Now there is a bulge, and look at into the age pyramid, and the those rectangles of the older people. Look at the 60 to 69. Look at the 60 to 69 of India. It's perhaps less than 5. And look at the 60 to 69 of Japan. It's more than 5. And similarly, look at 70 to 79. It's almost again close to 5. Look at India's 70 to 79. Maybe it's around 2. So you can see here the all those societies, all those countries which are experiencing demographic aging, they have a bulge in the older cohorts compared to younger cohorts. Look at the younger cohorts in India and look at the older cohorts. So here younger cohorts, it's much greater or much broader compared to the older cohorts. This is a developing country. Young population. India has a very young population. It is yet to experience aging. This is a developed country which is experiencing aging, and you can see here the older cohorts are more than the younger cohorts. So there is a bulge, you can see here. This way they don't have a typical pyramidal shape, triangle pyramidal shape. The developed countries don't have that. They are more or less have a bell shape. Now, why is it important to study aging? It is important to study aging because it's an inevitable and irreversible process, and it affects one's physical and psychological well-being. Besides, it is said to have social, economic, and cultural implications. Now, let us have a glance into the aged population uh, in different countries of the world. In general, each of the 200 countries or more than 200 countries or areas with at least 90,000 inhabitants in 2017 is projected to see an increase in the proportion of person aged 60 or over between 2017 and 2050. What does it mean? It means that generally all the countries of the world will experience this process of demographic aging. However, the degree will vary. The degree will vary depending upon in which stage of demographic transition they are in. So population aging, the inevitable increase in the share of older persons that results from the decline in fertility and improvement in survival that characterize the demographic transition is occurring throughout the world with varying degree, of course. Now, although the process of population aging is most advanced in Europe and North America, representing the developed countries, where more than 1 person in 5 was aged 60 or over in 2017. So 1/5 of the population was experiencing aging in the developed parts of the world, particularly Europe and North America in 2017. The population of other regions are growing older as well, but not as or net at par with these developed countries. Now, in 2050, it is estimated that older person will account for 35% of the population in Europe, 28% in Northern America, 25% in Latin America and the Caribbean, 24% in Asia, 23% in Oceania, and 9% in Africa. So you can see here, all these countries will experience aging, but the Europe and North America will experience relatively much more compared to the other parts of the world. You can see here in 2017, what is the total number of aged population all over the world? 962 millions is almost 1 billion, the proportion of the uh, aged population. Now this is distribution by continents. You can see here what they are estimated to become. What is the percentage change? distribution. You can see distribution all over the world, how it is being distributed. So Asia, by virtue of being having the largest in terms of largest share in the total population, of course, they are going to have more number of aged population, 57. Now, distribution of older persons in 2050. This is what is expected. So, Asia, by virtue of its large total population, of course, they will have the largest share. Now, this will give you a picture. Like, look at this. All those developed countries. Look at this from 1980s. So, in the last 50 or 60 years, since how various developed countries are experiencing aging. Look at this: number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. These are all developed countries. That is, all these top 10s are developed countries in 1980s. But by 2017, Japan has become the most aged country. Look at the percentage of aged population. In Japan, in 2017, it was 33. It means, what does it mean? That means out of every 10 people, around 3, more than 3 will be old or elderly. Second is Italy, 29. Now, this is one of the reasons why there was such a large number of deaths due to the infection of corona in Italy, because they have a large older or elderly population in their total population. Look at even Germany also same. Now you can see this data for yourself. I have provided you the reading material also. You can see there how developed countries are experiencing aging compared to the other parts of the world. You see all this 20, 20, 20, 30, 20, most of them 20. What does it mean? It means like 1/5 out of 100. If 3, then means it's more than 1/5 of their population are experiencing aging. Look at this. Japan is estimated in 2050. Japan is estimated to have 42. By then, Spain will come closer to Japan with 41. So look at this, all 40 figures. All the top 10 countries will be around the 40 figure marks. China will also join in by then. By virtue of having one child policy, China's population will also age by 2050. Now, what is the situation in India? Now, the percentage, what is the percentage of elderly in India? Now, even India is experiencing an increase or an increment in the percentage of the elderly in the total population. Now, the share of the population over the age of 60 is projected to increase from 8% in 2015 to 19 in 2050. Now, by the end of the century, the elderly will constitute nearly 34% of the total population in the country. Now, undoubtedly, therefore, relatively young India today will turn into a rapidly aging society in the coming decades. But we are, but our aging, our aging is a lot different from those of the developed countries. I showed you the slide here. Japan in 2017 was already having 33. Now around the same time, India is having only 8% of their population in the 60 plus cohort, age cohort. So you can see a huge difference between these two countries by virtue of them being in different phase of the demographic transition. Now, a distinguishing feature of aging in India is the significant interstate disparity in terms of both levels and growth of elderly population depending upon the pace of demographic transition in these states. So you can see here, one of the characteristic feature of demographic aging in India is interstate variation. Interstate variation, see, it is as low as 6.5 in Assam and as high as 12.3 in Kerala. Now, with regard to the aged population in India, we will discuss more in detail in another class. Thank you.